cross articulated. And yeah, perfect speed.
There we are. Wow.
Good job. Coming on down. Right there. Yeah.
The much anticipated Rivian R2 is finally here. Customer deliveries began last week, which was only about a week after Rivian's first drive event, in which journalists, myself included, were invited to Utah to drive the R2 both on-road and off-road. I put out a video on that last week, and there's obviously a lot of anticipation and interest in the R2 because my video already has over 100,000 views. Now, in that video, I mentioned that there was an on-road and an off-road driving section, and I thought the video would be too long if I really included much of the content that I recorded while we were driving off-road. And I said I was going to make a separate video just about the off-road experience. That's what we're going to talk about here today. I had Rivian representative Jake Molinowski, who's the senior manager of vehicle dynamics for the R2, in the vehicle with me. There was also one other journalist, Lawrence Ulrich, who was covering the R2 first drive for The Verge. And we were able to drive, I don't know how many miles it was, but up a mountain in the Wasatch Mountain Range in Utah. It's only, I think, about a half an hour or so, 40 minutes from Park City, and drive up a mountain and then back down the mountain. Lance and I took turns driving. I recorded the entire section of me driving and talking to Jake about the vehicle so he could explain to us what the vehicle was doing to be able to handle the terrain that we were on. Recorded the whole thing for two reasons. Number one, I wanted to give my followers a more, immersive experience in off-roading the R2. But also, I know a lot of people are curious about what happens in these first drive events, and I thought maybe recording kind of the whole time that I was driving it and talking to Jake would be better than me just telling you what Jake said and what I experienced. So you've got about a half an hour of me off-roading the R2 and talking to Jake during that time. And every now and then, Lawrence pops in and asks a question. Now, I had a couple of cameras set up in the R2 that we were driving, but I have to say, because this was an off-road event, my camera mounts were shaking. I don't typically do a lot of extreme off-road videos, so I don't have the proper camera mounts to hold them in place when the vehicle is just rocking back and forth. And because of that, a couple times the camera shut off. And on one of the occasions, the camera shut off that was controlling the mics. So I had to then rely on the backup camera that didn't have mics. Basically what I'm saying is the audio isn't great. I did my best to normalize it, and some of the clips don't have the best views, but that's because I didn't have all the cameras working and all the audio working for the entire trip. My bad on that, but honestly, if you follow me on this channel, you know I don't do extreme off-road video content, and I don't have the type of camera mounts that really hold the cameras in place when the vehicle's rocking back and forth. But that said, I think you're gonna enjoy this one, so let's get into it. All right, and now the real fun starts. That's because I'm here with Jake from Rivian, and we're gonna do some kind of extreme, not totally extreme, but off-roading. Right. Tell us a little bit about what we're gonna be doing here.
Sure, so we're heading to the top of Vista. It is all dirt road to there. And then the last little stretch gets much more technical, and you may get into some wheel slip conditions and need some of the traction control to help you get to the top, but we will get to the top.
Awesome. And Jake's going to be sitting in the back seat. You're not going to see him on camera, but he's going to be talking as we go and telling us what the vehicle is doing to be able to maintain, stable footing and so forth. So let's hop in and have some fun.
Sounds good.
All right, so we're on the road. Jake, what are we going to be doing here?
So it'll start out just some rough dirt, no big deal, and then the terrain will start getting a little more rocky as we go, and that's where we'll probably stick around 10 or so miles an hour and should be comfortable enough. Anything that looks sharp, again, just put your tread right on top of it, and that'll help save the sidewalls of the tire.
Yeah, we don't want a flat tire, but we do have a trail R2, just in case that does happen. You know, we do have a vehicle behind us that will help with that.
Yep.
Rescue truck.
Yeah, rescue truck.
And R2 can do any of this. You
Yeah.
pick any line you see fit.
Yeah, I'm just paying attention for the rocks.
Yep.
And the interesting thing is, I have an R1S, and this is it feels a lot more narrow. It's only a couple inches narrower, but when you're off-roading, that makes a big difference. And some of the trails we were just on was narrow, and I could tell my R1S would be scraping both sides.
Right. Less width, shorter wheelbase really helps with that maneuverability off-road.
Yeah.
And you start to feel it out here.
Okay, maybe we could start off telling us a little bit about the suspension.
Sure.
And a lot of people talk about, oh, it doesn't have mechanical locking, differential, but it never really seemed to make much of a difference with the first gen Rivian vehicles. They handled off-roading amazingly.
Yeah.
Maybe you could talk a little bit about what's going on with the vehicle and how is it compensating for not having that mechanical locking diff.
Yeah, so the dual motor setup in R2 is comparable to the dual motor setup in R1 that has open differentials at the front and rear. And so in order to help off-road as much as possible, if you do come across any sort of a wheel slip condition, we can redistribute the torque by using the brake apply at whichever corner is slipping to send that torque to the other wheel that has grip. So it's not quite a locked differential, but that's what a locker is trying to help with, is to always redistribute that torque. And we can use the brake traction control to help emulate that. So when slip occurs, it can be a little, or you need to let the computer help you by staying in the pedal a little bit longer so that it can redistribute the torque through the brakes.
And as far as drive modes, real quick, I'm going to go that we're in all-terrain.
Yes.
There's also soft sand and rally.
Yep.
In off-road mode. So, and maybe talk a little bit about how the damping adjusts depending on drive modes.
Yes. So we take full advantage of having semi-active dampers on this configuration of R2. And in real time, we are adjusting to the driver's input and also the road input. So we kind of characterize the damping in those two ways. We call your input all the feed forward, so that's your steering, that's your brake apply, or regen, or accel pedal. So if you floor it, in order to help control some of that pitch, we apply damping to help smoothen that out. Things like that. When you're in sport, we use a lot more damping. Then all-purpose is somewhere in the middle, and then off-road we kind of minimize that to maximize your comfort when we're going over rough terrain like this.
Okay, and now what do you want me to do here? We're passing him, I assume?
Yep, go ahead,
All right.
pass him, and then we'll wait looking at that red truck, and we'll get a thumbs up. Oh,
Nope, that's a stop.
okay, yeah. So he'll give us the commands.
Let me back up and go behind.
The only
And then-
reason for that is this is a one-way section that gets pretty tight.
All right, so let me get out of anybody's way if
Yep.
it's happening.
And what I would recommend is, so the trail that we take is on your left, and it goes up, like straight up from there.
Right here, we're turning left?
Yeah, exactly. And so if you want to hop out, you're going to see some cool shots of cars coming down in a minute on your left.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you could hear Jake tell me that I could hop out and take pictures and video of the other journalists coming down the hill to our right driving their R2s. That intersection was planned by Rivian so we could capture video and pictures of the other journalists who were on a reverse driving course that day. That's not really uncommon on these first drive events. for the host company to plan a driving route so the journalists can capture content of other journalists driving against an interesting background. So we hung around for a while, watched a couple R2s come down the hill before continuing along our route. Today's video is sponsored by evchargingstations.com. If you drive an electric vehicle or you're planning to, this site is packed with comprehensive charger reviews, detailed DC fast charging graphs, and the latest news from all of the fast charging networks. You'll find real-world testing, easy to understand comparison, and deep dives into how different electric vehicles actually charge. Before you buy an EV charger or plan your next road trip, make sure to bookmark evchargingstations.com and make smarter charging decisions. I don't know if you have any comment or thoughts on tire selection. I know we're running the off-road tires.
Yeah.
And it's on the 20-inch wheels, right?
Correct.
What's the process of selecting the right tire for the vehicle? There's a lot of different off-road tires available, all-terrain tires available.
So we go through a process. We first see kind of what's available and off the shelf. And so we'll do an evaluation first to see, hey, what do we think is closest to our targets, right? We, way in advance, we'll write down, this is what we want the vehicle to do, this is the range, this is the off-roading, stay left. This is kind of the attributes that we're going for. And then we'll go and measure and characterize a lot of things that are currently available. And we'll start to engage suppliers at that time where we see, are there any future lines that may fit, even if they're pre-production or not released yet. So we start there. We start step 0, we call it, is just benchmarking kind of what's out there. Once we go through and we see what's closest to the targets.
This is nice.
Yeah, then we'll start discussions and select a supplier to move forward with. And we really focus on suppliers that we trust will be able to hit those really demanding targets that we have. This is a very range-focused off-road tire, which is an oxymoron. Like, those two things are opposed to each other in a lot of ways. So Michelin is the owner of BFG, and BFG is a sub-brand of them. So we worked a lot very closely with Michelin in order to make a custom tire specific to this vehicle. So this BFG it has a little Rivian RIV logo on the side. That means, yep, that is our tire that is really optimized for this vehicle. So we were able to maximize range, get good aerodynamics, and we worked with their styling team in order to do some very tricky things there in order to maximize that. And we also look at handling and steering and ride, and we throw everything at them. You're going to the right. Yeah, you're heading into this campground, and he'll guide you.
All right, Jake.
Yeah, we're back at it. So we're coming on down.
Yep. How's my lane?
Yeah.
Towards the left,
You
right?
look good. Yeah. Maintain this and just as slow as possible. There you go.
What I love about this is I'm not touching the brake or anything. It's all regen.
That's what I was wondering about.
Holding
how
me
much
back.
I was wondering, right? It effectively does work as like hill descent. Are you in high regen?
Yes.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. So we have traction control doing its work even in the one pedal drive mode. So it's always helping you uphill, downhill, you name it.
Jake, as we go down here, the camera's running. We're recording now.
Yep.
Maybe you could talk a little bit about hill descent and how regen works.
Yeah.
Better than would be on friction brakes now.
Yeah, exactly. So a lot of the times when you are driving ICE cars, for comparison, in this same scenario, instructors will constantly be trying to teach you how to 2-foot. So you can 2-foot with this car. It is set up for that. 2-foot just means you have left foot on the brake, right foot on the gas, and you are constantly trying to blend between the two in order to keep you and your passengers comfortable.
which I didn't just do. But the regen is completely working. I don't have to touch a friction brake at all here. It's all regen as holding us back as we go down, which really makes descending a lot easier.
A lot easier, a lot smoother, a lot more comfortable.
To be fair, it does that with R1 also, but it's slightly different regen braking system on R2. Could you talk about the difference between how the regen is employed on R1 and here on R2?
Yeah, it's all about that decoupled brake pedal. So we have the mechanical connection to the, let me rephrase that, but the brake pedal system is different on R2 than it is on R1. And on R1, we do use blending in order to maintain a constant decel, but the pedal will be depressed and will be moving anytime that it is doing that blending down.
I noticed that, like, it'll pull forward as if I was pushing it, the pedal forward, but I'm not pushing it forward. R2 won't do that.
Correct. It will not do that, and doesn't have to do that. It can do the blending behind the scenes for you, arbitrating constantly between regen to maximize how much energy we can put back into the battery versus friction brakes in order to make sure that you're still maintaining a constant decel request, so that it feels consistent no matter what your state of charge is. There's a reference for it, pun intended. Even if you're top of charge, it can use brakes seamlessly and blend between the two.
Yeah, because a lot of EVs, different EVs act differently when you're at 100% state of charge. Let's say you're just fully charged and you're leaving, you live on top of a mountain. You know, as I'm heading down now, there's no more room to put any energy. What will R2 do? It'll be all friction? So
in that scenario, that's a good scenario. That's why most EVs will have a recommendation of, only charge up to some certain percent that is lesser than 100.
Sure, yeah. But I'm heading out on a 600-mile journey that day. I want to charge to 100%.
Right. And then in that scenario, when you're coming down the hill and you're requesting regen during unpedal driving, it'll try and maximize how much it can send to the battery, but it won't be a lot. And then it'll blend the rest with the foundation brakes and ramp that up.
Okay. Stand right here. Use the camera, just really helpful. Okay. Okay, gonna stay a little bit more to the right of this. There we go. We don't want flat tires.
No, good speed, good job, good line. Yeah, doing great.
Okay, so this one here, I almost want to go over here because there's a big hole. All right.
And when you get to the bottom, stay right.
Yeah.
And double back, same way.
Bit of a hairpin turn over here.
Again, you can see that difference in maneuverability. It's pretty nimble driving this in an R2.
It is. That it is. It feels infinitely smaller than my R1S, which I knew it would feel smaller, but off-roading like this, it feels a lot smaller.
Yep. Easy to place.
Yeah.
That's one thing. We tried to focus on making it predictable, so you know where the wheels and tires are at all times. It definitely helps with your tire placement, and when you're picking your lines, it's much easier.
Is there a downhill grade that's steep enough that it would like basically overcome the regen and the vehicle would keep speeding up, and you would need to get your foot into it?
Good question. We have grade compensation, meaning that we do a calculation behind the scenes in order to say hey, with this much weight transfer on a grade, we expect we need to increase the decel by this much, right? So we're constantly trying to compensate for that. So what we target above all else is like a constant G decel that you experience. So everything feels consistent, predictable, similar, all that. Even taking it even further, if this car were loaded to GVW with all your gear and your family and your dog and blah blah blah, same thing. We also have mass compensation. So we're always trying to look at maintaining a consistent decel regardless of whatever's being thrown at it.
So there's no, in theory, no any grade that it could tackle. Otherwise, it'll keep it to 5 miles an hour or something. You know what I mean? It'll never go running 10, 15, 20 miles an hour, no matter how steep it is.
Yeah, it will be trying to target that consistent performance regardless. We do quote max gradability, which just means what we think you can do off-road, and that means, so R1 we target 100% grade, which is a 45-degree angle, and then on R2 we target a 60% grade. So then if you have an opportunity to drive R1 quad off-road, that's where you had talked about the time it takes for the system to figure out slip and all of that. That's where the quad can redistribute torque in on the order of milliseconds, and it's extremely fast, and that's where micro amounts of slip could be taking place, and the system is already reacting and correcting and helping. When you have to rely on foundation brakes to help redistribute the torque, building pressure in hydraulics, just for first principles, takes a little bit longer. So that's kind of the difference between like a very premium experience when you have one motor per wheel, and the powertrain and motor is doing that traction control for you, versus then relying on the brakes that requires a little bit more slip first before it can react and help. Cool. So yeah, for this car, we're extremely proud of the balance we tried to strike. So we tried to get the best of both worlds. So we were going for some fun, predictable on-road manners where everyday livability is great, puts a smile on your face. You want to commute with it. It's easy to take to the shops. Yeah.
Maybe I didn't take the best lane on that last section there.
That's okay. It's easy to pop down to the grocery store, get your groceries, come on back, no problem. And then we also have this off-road capability that we prioritized off-road comfort as well. We hope that our customers get to experience this. This trail is a great example of kind of the upper limit that we expect customers to really push their cars to. But hopefully this is taking your family to a camping ground somewhere really remote, getting out in nature and exploring that. So yeah, we're pretty happy with that.
Well, that's the thing, you know, a lot of people want the lifestyle vehicle. You know, it looks cool, and you just look at it and you know it's probably very capable. But then, in reality, a lot of people never do anything like this. So your challenge is the vehicle has to be able to do it. You can't just make it and say it does it. Then, you know, you get a journalist goes out and it gets stuck in 5 minutes.
All right, so sorry.
Go ahead.
To interrupt. We are going to go down left here.
Left, okay.
This is the most challenging bit.
All right. So anyway, before we go, I'll just wrap that up. But
Sure.
but then it really has to be compliant on road. So you've got to make it do both. So
Yeah.
that's the challenge.
So for all of this, we're just going to target 1 to 2 miles an hour. I'll give you a reminder if we ever got to slow down.
Nope.
That's okay.
I'm going free. I don't care.
Okay. That's fine.
I'm a rebel.
Yeah, and then you'll hear me be a broken record. I'll just for the most part, it's like stay left, stay left, stay left, and lower climbing. So here we're gonna straddle this kind of V-ditch coming up, and you got a good line here. So yeah, nice and slow. We're gonna lift wheels. We're gonna be cross-articulated, and yeah, perfect speed.
There we
speed.
are. Wow.
Good job. Coming on down, right there. Yeah. Nice.
All right. You can feel that. Yeah, not a lot of owners are going to do that.
No. Yeah, this is the upper limit for sure. All right, stay a little high left on this one. Yeah, good line right there. Nice.
Not to mention, if we go too far left, we're going off a cliff.
Yep. Bit of a ledge. Yep. All right, this next section has some loose rocks. So
See that.
again,
Stay high left here.
Yep. Stay left. You can see the previous tracks. We're just following that. Good job on speed. Nice. All right, a little slower, Yeah, good job.
Again, this is steep, and it is all regen.
Mm-hmm.
No, not touching any brake. As a matter of fact, I let off. It stops.
Yeah.
You know, and we're steep. Just on regen, on loose gravel, it just stops. Yeah, that's wild.
Good stuff. Good speed. All right. So this is a bit of a ledge coming up. 2 wheels down, and then we'll just wait for the backs to crawl down too.
Okay.
Got a good line right there. Straighten up. Coming on down. Nice. Slow, 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 slow. Yeah, awesome. We'll stay left here. There's a little ledge.
Yeah, we're gonna hit that no matter what.
Yep. There we go.
Straddle this, right?
Yep. Yep. Good job. Good line.
Go back left. Okay.
Couple ledges.
Yeah, this is
Same
some
thing.
fun here.
There you go. Easy.
Going 2.
Yeah, no, I'm saying it was easy. Yeah, too easy. Same thing, stay left.
Okay. This looks so beautiful right ahead of us. Look at that mountain range, the lake, the ponds, the trees.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Good job. All right, this is it. This is the biggest challenge. So we may scrape the underbody, that's okay, but just go nice and slow.
All right.
Good line right here. Yep, there it is.
Scraping a little.
That's all right. Got the protection. All good.
Easy peasy.
Yeah.
You didn't even tell me to slow down.
Yeah. No, your one pedal driving was great, honestly. I think those who have that EV experience, you know, you're used to it, and it makes it easy.
I have about 500,000 miles of EV driving under my belt at this point. Maybe close to 6.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a
varying degrees of regenerative braking too. It's interesting how the different automakers have such different strategies on that.
Oh, yeah.
And I do like how Rivian employs it. You do the regen braking changes in the drive modes, and then you also can adjust it to like low, medium and high.
Right. So
you give the driver control over how they want to set the regen up.
Yep, in every mode.
Left here?
So if you want to jump out and video the next one down,
okay,
you could.
Okay. And like the last time, I took advantage of the opportunity, hopped out of our R2 to watch another R2 coming down the mountain. And I have to tell you, it looked a lot steeper in person than it does now that I'm watching it back on video. And it was very uneven surface, and there were a lot of broken, loose rocks and gravel. So this wasn't as easy a downgrade to negotiate as the R2 makes it look like here in this shot. In any event, it handled it without any problem. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed that video. I hope you enjoyed listening to Jake answer my questions. Overall, I was super impressed with R2. It's not quite as capable as R1 vehicles, but I mean, it's like 40% less. You're not going to get everything at every price point, but for most people that want to do sort of mild off-roading, R2 is going to be more than capable for you. I'm certain of that, and I think people are really going to like it. I have a reservation for an R2. I plan on going through with that when they call me. I don't know when that's going to be, but I'll probably either trade in my R1S or sell it and get the R2. Not that I don't love the R1S, I really do. We just don't need a vehicle that big. The R2 is much better size for me. And also, I always like to have the latest video out there just for content for my channel. It's part of the reason why I constantly buying new vehicles. Well, number one, I love doing that. It's fun, but it is for State of Charge, and I get to have the latest vehicles that I can report on, make video content with. And the R2 is the it vehicle right now, as far as I'm concerned. Well, the BMW iX3 is kind of the it vehicle also, but for domestically made US centric vehicles, the R2 is absolutely the hottest EV out right now, in my opinion. All right, well, that's all we have here today. If this is your first time here at State of Charge, please hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you don't miss any upcoming electric vehicle news and reviews. And as always, thanks for watching.